Alrighty booktube, Nikki here. This is my wrap up for all of the comic books that I read in March, and there was a bunch of them, so I'm going to go through all of them, tell you what I thought. I've split my wrap ups now into comic books and books, so you'll see all the books that I read in another video. So I think I read 7 books, but I've got 6 comic books / graphic novels to show you today. We're going to talk about them. I'm going to start with the comic books that I like the least, moving toward the comic books that I like the most, and we're going to start with Captain Marvel in Pursuit of Flight. This is the first trade paperback with Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, and it's written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, art by Dexter Soy and Emma Rios, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed. Dexter Soy's art is a little bit different to what I'm used to, but I didn't mind it for the most part. I can't find a page, it's not gonna be completely spoilery, but then we switch over to Emma Rios's art and it's quite like wispy, and it was really jarring because I couldn't tell the difference between characters at times, and it was so different. But my main problem with this one was just the heavy-handed message of I'm a girl, got it, girls rule, girls are tough. This is the first pages. Big ugly bad guy calling Captain Marvel Captain America's secretary. He's really just a misogynistic monster, which I don't mind, but it was the most like obviously heavy-handed thing, and this is coming from someone whose favorite series is Bombshells. Look at that. This is my whole entire shelf of Bombshells, okay? Which is a team of superheroines during World War II, led by a feminist icon. So for me to say that this is heavy-handed, like I really mean that it was very in your face, I'm a girl, girl power, girls rule. This is also a time travel storyline, so she gets sent back to World War II. She comes face to face with the all-women Banshee squadron, but it was just all a bit too much. I get that it was hard though, especially because this was 2012. Now we're like 5 years later, and every mantle is passed on to a woman at least once. We've got a female Hulk, a female Hawkeye, there's a female Thor, Iron Man is a 15-year-old girl. Like, we're used to mantles being passed on, but I think it wasn't as big a thing at this time. I mean, people aren't really jazzed about the whole Ironheart thing, are they now? I get it, but also write a good story, despite the fact that it's a time travel story, so the stakes are super low. Because what are you gonna do? Accidentally change the course of history in the Marvel universe? No, because Brian Michael Bendis isn't writing this, so it's not an event. And despite all the other stuff, I really did like the character of Captain Marvel. I do want to continue, I really want to get to know this character, but this wasn't exactly the most solid start. Speaking of solid start, this series had one, but unfortunately is over. All New All Different Avengers, Volume 3, just aptly named Civil War 2. The All New All Different Avengers is the team that had Sam Wilson as Captain America, we got Nova, got Ms. Marvel, Miles Morales Spider-Man, female Thor, Vision, completely different team up, and I really liked the team dynamic. I think the team dynamic is the strength of this book, because you have like all the older characters who have been a hero for a while, and they're facing their own challenges, and then you've got the young guys who are coming in and they're really excited to be a part of a team, but they need to learn from the old guys. Great dynamic. But this series I think is one that got gutted, just gutted by crossovers and events. There was Standoff, which I didn't care about. We had to introduce All New All Different Wasp, which I wouldn't have cared about except that this is over, so she went nowhere. She just appeared. Then in this one we have Civil War. So this doesn't even feature the characters together. We have 3 different stories. We've got Vision hanging out with Ulysses, who is the Inhuman with the power to see the future, and he caused basically Civil War 2 because they all disagreed on what to do. We have the All Different Wasp, who I don't care about at all. I'm sorry. Sure, she's great. What's she doing in this book? I don't know. Then you have Thor, who goes up to see Heimdall, is that his name? The Asgardian, who can see the future as well. And then he tells a bit of a story about the regular Avengers. And I didn't mind that book, it was probably the most satisfying to read on its own, but really wasn't liking this until I got to the annual, which I already had, but I hadn't read because I wasn't sure about spoilers. I'm filthy casual and I wait for trade paperbacks to come out. And the annual is hilarious. It's so funny. Kamala Khan goes online to read all these fanfiction stuff, and it's all written by different creators like G. Willow Wilson, and it was just really fun and goofy and made me laugh a lot. I don't have a great interest at the moment in reading Civil War 2. I'm just a little bit bitter that we had to have all of this. Next we have Chewbacca by Jerry Duggan and Phil Noto. I bought this because Phil Noto was at a convention ages ago and I didn't have anything for him to sign. This is the second Star Wars kind of standalone character story that I've read. I read Princess Leia and I really love the art in that so much. The Dodsons are the best. This one similarly has really cool art as well. Coloring and lighting as well. Like, there's lots of glowy space stuff. Basically, Chewbacca crash lands on an Imperial occupied planet. This little girl Zara comes to him for help because her father has been enslaved because he couldn't pay someone some money. A whole big operation happening on the planet pretty much just rendered people slaves, and so Chewbacca goes to help out. The main difficulty I feel with a character like Chewbacca is that he doesn't say words. So there's lots of roaring and it was a satisfying standalone trade. Didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed reading it. I might get on to reading a couple more of these character books, but I really want to get onto the main Star Wars series and maybe Darth Vader because I know that's a longer one. But if you're a Chewie fan, there's no reason not to pick this up. Next I read IZombie Dead to the World Volume 1 by Chris Robertson and Michael Allred. I had seen a couple of episodes of the show, but I always wanted to go back and read this first. This is about Gwen, and she's a zombie and she's a grave digger and she survives by eating brains. But when she eats a brain, she takes on the memories and part of the personality of the person whose brain she just eated. She's got a best friend who's a ghost, and then another friend, Scott, who is a were-terrier. It's like a werewolf, but like a dog, which is great. Basically in this one, there was lots of establishing the world, and I really liked it. I really liked the world that we were introduced to. I thought it was really cool. They also laid out all the different types of like creatures and whatever you could have and how that happened. I like that because I like structured world building and rules and stuff. I don't really feel a huge connection to any of the characters, but I'm sure that will grow as the series goes on. But I do plan to continue this series so I can get to know the characters better. Also, I really like Michael Allred's art. It kind of gives the whole story a completely different feel. It's beautiful. I really like it. This is recommended for mature readers because of the whole brain eating stuff. It's not overwhelmingly scary, but it's not a kid's book. So I do plan to pick up the next couple of these and get to know Gwen a little bit better. So I wanted to watch Riverdale because everyone was talking about it. So I was like, yo, I have no idea who any of these characters are. Basically, I knew there was Archie, and then there's Betty, and there's Veronica. I didn't know a thing. So I picked up the Archie reboot by Fiona Staples, Mark Waid, Annie Wu, and Veronica Fish. This is the new Riverdale. I wasn't really sure about this one, if it was my jam, because I'm really, you know, tights, capes, outer space type of comic book reader, and this is way like normal for me. So we have Archie, who can pretty much be characterized as just oblivious, optimistic and oblivious. Then we have Betty, who likes to help out people and look out for her friends, to the point though where she's sometimes a bit of a doormat. And then we have Veronica, who is like 8 different shades of just wackadoo. So Veronica comes to town and just like claims Archie, and he's like oblivious. He's like, cool, new friend. And everyone else pretty much has to watch out for Archie. That's the whole point of this book. Everybody just watching out for Archie. And yeah, it's a little over the top at times, but I really enjoyed it. I really loved Fiona Staples' art in particular. Even the latter issues that are done by different artists, I really enjoyed. I know that she's not on the next book, which makes me a little bit sad, but I still picked it up because I want to read it. Completely different, by the way, to Riverdale. I've watched like, I don't know, 6 episodes of Riverdale. I'm not the biggest fan, mostly because it's not bad, but it's just nothing new. It's Pretty Little Liars with extra gingers and a smidge of Twin Peaks. I feel like they've shot for Veronica Mars, but not quite made it. But I definitely would have preferred a show like this comic book, the Scott Pilgrim movie, and Pushing Daisies, the TV show. Put those in a blender, have like an over-the-top, really bright poppy show. Even have the murder still happen. It would be like hilarious. It'd be great. There is a reason though I'm not a TV producer person, because I probably just pick niche things and make them and then no one will watch them. And finally, my favorite read of the month was Batman Earth 1 Volume 2 by Gary Frank and Jeff Johns, as well as John Sybil and Brad Anderson. I really loved Volume 1. I hadn't read Volume 2 before, so I picked it up and I really enjoyed this so much. I love Earth 1. It puts a bit of a spin on the original origin story, gives us a really cool Gotham. I think the thing about this series is I've instantly connected with this Gotham more than any other Gotham that I've read, just because they're always so like, oh, it's an evil place, but this is kind of like, I understand how things fit together so that it's so corrupt. In this one we see the Riddler, and a lot of people have commented that is it Year Zero or Zero Year by Scott Snyder is a better story and this doesn't compare. I haven't read that, so I'm blissfully ignorant, and this is the best Riddler story I've read. Woohoo! There's so many graphic novels of Batman that I want to read. The art is fantastic. I love that you get like these huge big explosive pages, and then you get like a panel that will just zoom in on someone's facial expression. You totally understand exactly what they're feeling. So I think this is just an amazing all-round wonderful book. I think more people should read Earth 1, especially if people haven't read a lot of Batman, because I haven't. I've just started reading Batman Rebirth, but I've never really read a lot of Batman other than just random graphic novels. So this definitely deserves all the hype for Earth 1, but we need a third book, man. We need a third book. It's been like 2 years since this came out. There's no book number 3. They've teased it. They were like, it's happening. Where is it? Excuse me, hello, where's book 3? So those are all the books that I read this month. Have you read any of these? Are you interested in reading any of these? Do you have any recommendations based on these? Although, heaven knows I do not need any more comic books right now. I'm just gonna go wait for volume 3 of Earth 1 to come out in the corner for a while. But I'll see you next time. In the meantime, let me know in the comments below if you've read Civil War 2, because I don't know whether it's worth reading. I'm not huge on events. I haven't even read the first Civil War book. I will, but I just haven't got there yet. Anyway, I don't know where these are gonna go because I'm running out of room on my comic book shelf. Also, if you live in Australia, where the flip do you buy long boxes from? Because I need long boxes for my single issues. None of my local comic book shops have them, or if they do, they're like $1 million zillion. 2015. 2015 this came out, okay? It's 2017. Come on now.